Hello guys, good day. Welcome back sa ating channel at welcome back para sa isa na namang panibagong lecture, no? For today, ang pag-uusapan natin is with regards to the topic of on Katarungang Pambarangay, no? Recently, with regards to the amendments on the curriculum of the criminology profession or degree, no? We have the so-called dispute resolution and crisis management. No? And part of that no, is the inclusion of the so-called Katarungang Pambarangay. So we are discussing our this topic no, in relation to that addition. No? And also, I think in the old curriculum, this is also part of the so-called Philippine Criminal Justice System, no? Yung CJS na tinatawag natin, PCJS. So without further ado, let's jump right into our discussion, which is the Katarungang Pambarangay or the Barangay Justice System. Basically, we have here the following topic. No, we have five of them. We have the first topic will be covering the brief overview of the criminal justice system and as well as the institution or the creation of the so-called Katarungan Pambarangay. No? And then the topic number 2 will be the constitution of the Lupon, no? How Lupon is being created as part of the Katarungan Pambarangay, no? The members of the Lupon and things like that. That's part of the topic number 2. Then after that, we are going to discuss the following alternative dispute resolution, no, or alternative justice process na ginagawa inside or as part of the so-called Katarungan Pambarangay, such as the concept of the mediation, no, the concept of conciliation, and the so-called arbitration, no. So those are the following topic. If you are interested to those things that we just mentioned, no, stand by and let's jump right into our discussion. So first, no, before we proceed with regards to the main topic, let us first have an overview with regards to what is justice system, no? Kasi ang Katarungang Pambarangay is an aid, kumbaga ito ay tutulong dito sa ating justice system in its purpose of administering justice. So we define justice system as a phrase that collectively describes, no, the various agencies, establishment, and institution tasked with the administering or with the responsibility of administering or enforcing law, no, which are organized primarily around handling either civil or criminal cases. So, pag sinabi nating justice system, guys, ito yung sistema na kumbaga it is task no doon sa pagbibigay ng hustisya no from the word justice no whenever there is a violation of the law no. So we have different forms of justice system no depende doon sa concept na inadapt nila no. And in our country we also have our own Philippine criminal justice system, which has the main purpose, of course, of administering the law, no, or giving justice to the person to whom it is due, no. So sila ang nakatoka kumbaga sa pagbibigay ng hustisya, no. At pag sinabi nating pagbibigay ng hustisya ay nakasali na rin po diyan yung process of arrest, no, trying and deciding the cases, no, prosecuting the cases, not providing punishment whenever there's a violation, whenever there's a proven violation, things like that. So that is primarily the purpose of the creation of the so-called justice system. So we made mention of the so-called justice or criminal justice system. No? Pag sinabi natin criminal justice system, no, that is more specific than justice system kasi ang justice system is just the broad term that refers to that type of systemization. No? Pag sinabi natin criminal justice, now it is focused on giving or administering justice in relation to law violation. No? So define or it is defined, no, yung criminal justice system natin is defined as the system or process in the community by which crime is investigated, no, and the person suspected thereof are taken into the custody, that is through the arrest, no, prosecuted in court under the second pillar, which is the prosecution, no, and punished, no, through the correction pillar. No, if found guilty, provisions punish if found guilty. Provisions being made for their correction and rehabilitation will also be created. So, with that, no, let's jump naman dito sa ating mas specific pa, which is the Philippine criminal justice system. As we have mentioned, no, different countries had adopted their own type of justice system depending upon the needs, no, depending upon the needs, no, and depending upon what is applicable to them, no. So for us, we had adopted the this following justice system, which we composed, no, yung or created the so-called 5 pillars of the criminal justice system, which is the law enforcement, prosecution, court, correction, and community. In other countries, they only have 3: law enforcement, court, and correction. But for us, we added the prosecution pillar and then the community pillar. Now, the community is an informal, no? Ito yung isang tinatawag nating informal pillar of the criminal justice system, that wala naman siyang specific function, but rather since all of these processes, no, yung pag-aresto, no, prosecute, no, and try and decide on the case, and as well as the rehabilitation, actually revolves around the community. So sinali na rin po natin yung tinatawag nating community pillar. Okay? So we are now familiar with the concept of justice system. We are familiar with regards to the concept of criminal justice, and as well as our own Philippine criminal justice system. No? So we are trying here to justify kasi the creation, no, kung bakit it is a necessity that there should be the so-called barangay justice, no. So for that, we need to look into the problems, no, faced by the justice system around the world. Usually, no, may mga problema talaga tayo with regards to the system, no, that makes it sometimes weak with regards to achieving the main purpose of its creation, of the institution, di ba? So, yung mga ilan doon, no, could actually justify why there's a need for us to create the so-called Katarungang Pambarangay. No? So, among the problems that we had included are the following, no? Yung high levels of crime and violence, no, pag tumataas or dumadami yung crime and violence na nakocommit within a certain area, no, within a certain country. And of course, ibig sabihin po niyan, marami din po yung mga cases na sinasampa, no, doon sa ating mga korte that could result onto the so-called overburden with regards to heavy caseload, which is the problem number 3 that we had included. Now, for to mention that, no, to double down on that, sabi nga natin, when there is an overburden with regards to heavy caseload, no, mapapabagal po nito yung pag-impose ng justice, no. At tayo, pagdating sa pag-administer ng justice, naniniwala kasi tayo doon sa concept na justice delayed is justice denied. Ibig sabihin, kapag hindi agaran na ibigay yung hustisya sa mga parties na kung saan sila ay naghahangad ng hustisya, ay para na rin po itong kumbaga pinagkait sa kanila. So, that is one of the common problem that we are encountering, no? In addition with that, no, marami rin po yung mga new forms of criminality that are being committed, and sometimes the justice system is not ready for those things, no? Kaya kailangan natin mag-create ng sub area within the justice system. Like for example, for adults, for juveniles, no, nag-create tayo ng tinatawag natin juvenile justice system, no, para sa mga kabataang nagko-commit ng crime, because we should treat them differently, no. So among that, no, or among other needs na kung saan kailangan natin mag-create ng new form of justice system, because you know, crime is progressing, no? May mga bago tayong mga crime, uri ng crime na nako-commit at kailangan mag-adapt, no, or sumabay ang ating justice system para nang sa ganun is maging effective pa rin yung pagbibigay or pag-administer natin ng justice, no? So, problem number 3, overburden with heavy caseload. Nabanggit naman na po natin yan kanina. Then, we have number 4, insufficient financial and human resources, no? So, kung titignan kasi natin, well, even if it is state-funded, no, yung process, no, yung institution natin, no, kahit nanggagaling naman sa government yung kanilang pondo, ay hindi pa rin po nakakasapat. Kaya minsan is that causes the failure of the justice system to properly administer the justice, no? So, yun yung mga ilang problema. Pero ang gusto nating i-focus dito is with regards to problem number 3, which is the overburden with heavy caseload, no? In everyday, no, marami po tayong nako-commit na crime, kaya nang sa ganun, para mabawasan natin yung mga umaabot na mga cases or disputes sa korte, ay bibigyan natin or itatalaga natin yung barangay, no, bibigyan ng authority yung barangay to resolve yung mga issues or disputes that are originating from their own barangay, no? So with those things, no, we have now the creation of the Katarungang Pambarangay. Actually, the term creation is it's a bit wrong, no? So during the early days, we already have the concept of Katarungang Pambarangay, no? The only thing that it does, no, yung batas natin, is that it recognizes yung kumbaga the practice of the Katarungang Pambarangay, no? So the creation or the empowerment of the Katarungan Pambarangay, no, believes to will help to decongest yung mga tinatawag nating regular courts and works, mostly yung alternative community-based mechanism, no, ay may empower natin para nang sa ganun is mabawasan yung mga cases na umaabot sa korte, no? So may mga yan yung reason kung bakit na-create yung tinatawag nating Katarungang Pambarangay, no? So as I've stated, Katarungang Pambarangay already existed in our culture, no? Yung mga tribal court natin and something like that are the concept of Katarungang Pambarangay. So it now the law had recognizes, no? Ni-recognize niyo lang yung practice kumbaga natin na ito. So that makes the practice legal now, no? Now, with regards to the legal basis of the Katarungang Pambarangay, no, we could always rely on the Republic Act 7160, no, or the Local Government Code of 1991. In this law, it instituted the Katarungang Pambarangay or the barangay justice system, and it considered it as an extra governmental mechanism, now which has the aim of perpetuating na ipagpatuloy yung tinatawag nating time-honored tradition. So you see, it recognizes only, it does not create the barangay justice system, because barangay justice system somewhat existed already in our history, no? Meron na yan. Ang problema, it's not legal. So with the creation of the 7160, it only recognizes the so-called the concept of Katarungang Pambarangay, and it considered it as an aid kumbaga doon sa ating governmental process or doon sa ating justice system. However, there should be a limitation for the practice of the Katarungang Pambarangay, which we would be covering later on, no? So the main focus, no, as the law mandates of Katarungang Pambarangay is not deciding who is guilty and who is not, no? Hindi po yun yung kanyang main purpose. The purpose is that it honors the so-called the tradition of amicably settling interpersonal disputes, no? Susubukan nitong pag-ayusin yung mga magkakabarangay, no, na kung saan meron sila mga dispute para nang sa ganun ay hindi na umabot pa sa legal system, no, or yung tinatawag nating korte, yung kanilang mga dispute para nang sa ganun, no, nare-restore kumbaga yung relationship between the community since they live in the same barangay, at nababawasan din po yung trabaho, no, ng ating justice system, at baka sakaling maging effective ulit, no, in the sense na pagkokonti na yung kanilang trabaho, makakapag-focus na sila in fulfilling the purpose of their institution. Okay? So, what is Katarungang Pambarangay? No? So, we define Katarungang Pambarangay as a system of justice administered at the barangay level. No? For the purpose of amicable settling disputes through the process of mediation, conciliation, arbitration among family or barangay without resorting to court. So, it is a justice system, but it's not that same as the court, no, in terms of power and in terms of authority, no. Kung ang court natin decides who is guilty and who is not based on the evidence presented, ang ating justice system, ang ating barangay justice system naman is focused on settling yung tinatawag nating disputes, no, yung mga awayan, no, yung mga bangayan ng mga magkakapamilya, ng mga magkakabarangay, through the process of mediation and conciliation. Kumbaga, it is a restorative model. It follows the so-called restorative model na kung saan is pinag-aayos kumbaga yung mga magkakaaway para nang sa ganun is hindi na sila umabot pa doon sa legal proceedings, which is the court, no? So that is the main purpose of the so-called Katarungang Pambarangay, no? Now, on the Katarungang Pambarangay, you will encounter the so-called Lupong Tagapamayapa, no, or in short we call them the Lupon, no. So who is the Lupon, no? Lupon, that is a body organized in every barangay, composed of the punong barangay as the chairperson, no, of not less than 10 and more than 20, no, from which a member of the Pangkat shall be chosen. So tandaan natin guys, no, that Katarungang Pambarangay has its own organization, no, and that organization we call that the Lupong Tagapamayapa, no. Ang head ng Lupong Tagapamayapa is no other than the barangay chairman, no, yung si kapitan. The members, no, or residents or a person working in that barangay, no, and their numbers is usually nasa 10 to 20, no, 10 to 20 members po yan. 10 to 20 members po ang 10 to 20 po ang members ng tinatawag nating Lupon, no? So with regards to the organization, the punong barangay appoints the member of the Lupon, no, 15 days from the start of their term of office, no? So kapag na-elect at na-proclaim na si barangay chairman, no, he will now constitute or bubuuhin niya na yung tinatawag nating Lupong Tagapamayapa, no? 15 days pagkatapos siyang ma-elect, no, ma-proclaim, ma-appoint, no, as the new barangay chairman or the re-elected barangay chairman, he has the duty now or responsibility to create the so-called Lupon, no. So with that period, no, ang gagawin ni barangay captain is ililista niya yung mga gusto niya niyang maging member ng Lupong Tagapamayapa, no. So, as mandated doon sa ating manual with regards to the Katarungang Pambarangay, barangay chairman should list down all those individuals who are qualified, no, to become a member of the Lupong Tagapamayapa and be posted to a conspicuous area within the barangay, 3 conspicuous area doon sa kumbaga strategic, madaling makita ng mga taong ng mga nakatira doon sa barangay nila, such as for example doon sa barangay bulletin ng barangay hall or any other area na madalas madaanan, no, ng mga members ng barangay, something like that, so that the members of the barangay have a chance to scrutinize kung sino-sino yung mga magiging member ng Lupon, no. So the barangay residents can nominate their own preferences or reject the preferences of the barangay chairman within that period bago pa sila tuluyang ma-appoint, no? So as we have stated, there must be at least minimum of 10 members of the Lupon and a maximum of 20 members who will be appointed by the chairman. Now, upon selecting them and being, parang nag-seek ka ng approval from the community, no, from the barangay residents through posting it in a strategic area. No? So, if there is no, pag walang tumutol, walang kumontra doon sa mga nilista mong pangalan as the barangay chairman, then you can appoint them as the member of the Lupon before the 15 days period will expire. Okay? Now, we have the so-called mediation. No? Sabi nga natin, there are three processes that are being applied doon sa ating barangay justice system. Number one is mediation. Mediation, what is mediation? Mediation refers to the process wherein the Lupon chairperson or the barangay chairperson assist the disputing parties to reach a settlement by consensus that jointly satisfy their needs. So the mediation process usually occur within the authority of the barangay chairperson or the head of the Lupon. No? So kapag ikaw ay merong gustong isang pang reklamo sa inyong within your barangay, no? Ang mangyayari po yan guys is that ang unang kakausap sa inyo, you as the complainant and yung nirereklamo mo is no other than the barangay chairman. No? Yan yung process natin na kung saan si barangay chairman will try to mediate, no? Pag-ayusin kayo, no? Susubukan niyang ayusin yung gusot ninyo, tutulungan niya kayo na iba pala yung susubukan. Tutulungan niya kayong ayusin yung gusot ninyo, no? Through discussion and through the so-called the process of mediation, something like that, no? So pag-aayusin kayo, no? Tutulungan niya kayong magkaroon ng tinatawag nating common ground so you can agree on the same some terms and conditions in order to settle your dispute. For example, no, yung kapitbahay mong chismosa, pinabarangay mo, no? So dahil nag-complaint ka, no, ipapatawag kayong dalawa ni barangay chairman at doon is paghaharapin kayo, pag-uusapin kayo, no? Para nang sa ganun is baka sakaling pwede nyong maayos kumbaga yung gusot nyo. That is the so-called process or that's the so-called the process of mediation, no? So let's say for example, galit na galit ka talaga doon sa chismosa mong kapitbahay at ayaw mong makipag-ayos sa kanya, no? That will be forwarded. Halimbawa, ayaw mong makipag-ayos, that will be forwarded to the next level which we will discuss later on, no? So, before we proceed to that, let's talk about first what are the cases under the Katarungang Pambarangay. Ano-ano ba yung mga kaso na dapat dumaan pa sa barangay level bago siya tuluyang maisampa sa kaso? Kasi maraming nagtatanong actually with regards to this, no? Bakit kailangan pa namin dumaan sa barangay? Bakit hindi ako pwedeng diretso magsampa ng kaso sa kapulisan, sa korte, something like that. So, one of the legal requirements kasi of filing action is the so-called the satisfaction of the so-called barangay justice system, no? Mostly all disputes, civil man or criminal in nature, dapat yan, no, dadaan doon sa tinatawag nating barangay level, no? Kailangan dumaan muna. However, no, that will be the case if, no, yung accused and yung complainant are residing in the same city or municipality or in the same barangay, no? So dapat, no, kapag ang complainant at ang accused ay nakatira sa isang barangay, that's the time that they need to undergo the process, the so-called process of barangay. They need to undergo the process of Katarungang Pambarangay, no? Kung kayo ay nakatira sa isang barangay, kailangan yung dumaan muna sa barangay bago kayo makapagsampa ng kaso sa korte, sa kapulisan, and so on. Kaya mapapansin natin, no? Pumunta ka sa pulis, nag-report ka na ganito, ganyan, no? Nalaman ng kapulisan na kayo pala ay magkabarangay, no? Ang gagawin niyan is i-download or ibababa yung kaso ninyo, no? Or idadalhin yan sa barangay level at doon baga-undergo kayo ng Katarungang Pambarangay before you can come back and file the case after the satisfaction of the requirement, of the legal requirement to file action, no? So, yung mga cases na yan, no, lahat ay daraan doon as long as the respondents, no, yung nirereklamo at yung nagrereklamo ay nakatira on the same barangay, no? Or kahit naman hindi kayo nagkatira sa isang barangay pero kayo ay nakatira sa isang city or municipality which yung barangay ninyo is magkalapit lang, you still need to undergo the process of Katarungang Pambarangay before you can file a criminal case to the court or to the police level. Okay? So I hope that's clear, ano? So there are exemption of course. Now, ano ba yung mga hindi na kailangang dumaan pa sa barangay level? Number one, offenses involving government entity. No, kapag ang akusado or ang inirereklamo is a member of the government entity, either he is a government elected officials or he is a government employee, you don't need to undergo the process of Katarungang Pambarangay. That's one of the exemption. Offenses with maximum penalty of 1 year exceeding fine of 5,000 pesos. So kapag ang parusa doon sa crime na nakomit is more than 1 year, usually hindi na po yan dumadaan sa barangay level. Now, offenses with no private party, yung mga cases na kung saan wala namang pribadong biktima, example for this is for example is illegal parking, di ba? Ang violate mo is ang municipal ordinance or hindi naman kayo sa yung national rules and regulation natin with regards to traffic, ng mga traffic violations that are victimless, no, kumbaga walang pribadong biktima, hindi na po yan dadaan, no, sa tinatawag nating barangay level, no. Another real properties in different cities or municipalities, disputes or hindi naman kaya disputes that needs urgent legal action, labor disputes, land disputes, and action to annul judgment upon compromise, things like that, those are already exempted. Hindi na po yan dadaan sa barangay level, ano? Yun lang yung dapat nating tandaan, no? So if pasok do yung nirereklamo mo within the exemption, you are no longer legally obliged to undergo the so-called barangay justice process, no? Pwede ka nang magsampa diretso ng kaso sa korte, no? With the help of course of the law enforcement natin, no? So the mediation process usually, guys, tumatagal po yan ng 15 days, no? So yung reklamo mo ay ihahandle muna ni barangay chairman, no? Within 15 days. So 15 days munang hawak ni chairman yan bago niya ito ipasa, no, sa Pangkat Tagapagkasundo, no, kapag hindi talaga kayo nag-come up into an agreement, no. So kapag wala pa rin kayo napagkasunduan, hindi nyo pa rin naayos yung gusot nyo, no, within 15 days kailangan na pong i-forward kumbaga ni Lupon chairman or ni barangay captain yung complaint or yung dispute to the next level, which is now the so-called conciliation proceeding, no? So bali ang mediation and conciliation proceeding is parehas lang naman po yan, no? However, the only difference there is kung sino ang dumidinig doon sa reklamo. So pag mediation, ibig sabihin hawak pa po yan ni barangay captain, no? Pag wala pa rin kayong agreement, no, the barangay captain within 15 days will forward now the dispute to the so-called Pangkat Tagapagkasundo, no? So if hawak na or nasa jurisdiction na ng Pangkat Tagapagkasundo yung reklamo, no, ang gagawin naman nilang alternative dispute resolution is the so-called conciliation process, no? So what is a conciliation process? Well, conciliation process is a process wherein the Pangkat forgoes the power to decide or recommend, no, but assists the parties to isolate issues, no, and option to reach a settlement by consensus that jointly satisfy their need, no. So again, still, no, ang Pangkat Tagapagkasundo wala pa rin pong karapatan niyang husgahan, no, or desisyonan yung dinudulog sa kanilang reklamo. Ang gagawin lang po nila is tutulong silang pag-ayusin, no? Pag-ayusin yung dalawang party. Yun po yung pinaka main purpose po ng tinatawag nating conciliation process, no? At yun din po ang trabaho ng tinatawag nating pangkat tagapagkasundo. Now, we made mention of the so-called pangkat tagapagkasundo, no? Pangkat tagapagkasundo is still part of the Katarungang Pambarangay. No? They are also a part of the Lupong tagapamayapa. You remember that kanina, nung sinabi natin who are or how many members composes the Lupon tagapamayapa, there should at least be a minimum of 10 to 20 members. No? So yung 10 to 20 members po yan na member ng Lupong tagapamayapa will not sit down and help and assist and resolving, no, in helping in resolving the disputes between two parties, no. Hindi po sila lahat ay tatawagin para umupo or dinggin yung tumulong sa pag-aayos, no, ng mga parties involved. Instead, no, from that 10 to 20 individuals who are members of the so-called Lupong tagapamayapa, no, the party involved, no, yung dalawang party na to will select three among them, no, who will compose the so-called pangkat tagapagkasundo. So meron silang mga pagpipilian kung sino ang gusto nila, no, na tumulong sa kanilang sa pakikipag-ayos based on their own preference, no. Halimbawa, no, meron kang 3 tao doon na pinagkakatiwalaan at nirerespeto. From the list of the Lupong tagapamayapa members, no, pipili ka doon ng 3 at kapag nagkasundo kayo, no, ikaw bilang complainant at yung nirereklamo mo ay pumayag naman doon sa pinili mong 3 na tutulong sa inyong magkaayos, they will now form the so-called pangkat tagapagkasundo, no? So, pangkat tagapagkasundo, there is a conciliation panel constituted of, from the Lupon membership, no, for every dispute who will try to help them, no, in deciding their cases. So, pangkat tagapagkasundo has also 15 days. No? Meron din silang 15 days to help or help in resolving the dispute between the two parties. And kapag hindi nila naayos within 15 days, ay pwede pong ipa-extend yan for another 15 days. No? So, ibig sabihin, 15 days muna kay barangay chairman, tapos kung hindi naayos, magkakaroon pa ng 15 days ulit na patawag on the level of the pangkat tagapagkasundo, no, kung hindi pa rin naayos, pwede pa nilang ipa-extend ng another 15 days. So that means 45 days muna ang process na kailangan mong pagdaanan doon sa barangay level before you can finally file a case in the court if there's no settlement pag walang settlement na nabuo between the party and between the accused. Okay? So that is the pangkat tagapagkasundo. I hope we are clear with regards to the pangkat. No? Now, lastly, we have the so-called arbitration. Now, so arbitration is not a separate form or it's not a separate proceeding, no? But rather it is an additional remedy, no? To the process of mediation and process of conciliation. Ang arbitration process, guys, it is a process wherein the third party from outside the judicial system is chosen by the parties to hear and decide their dispute. Now, arbitration, yan yung tinatawag nating arbitration. Ngayon, let's say for example, you entrusted barangay chairman, no, na siya na ang mag-arbitrate ng case niya. Pag sinabi natin mag-arbitrate, guys, ito'y parang bibigyan nyo na siya ng karapatan na magdesisyon kung ano ang dapat ninyong gawin, no? Kanina kasi under conciliation and mediation is hindi si chairman at hindi si member ng pangkat ang magdedesisyon kung ano yung dapat ninyong gawin, no? Tutulungan lang kayo na magkaroon ng sarili ninyong terms and condition kung paano niyo aayusin ito, no? Sa arbitration, medyo parang may power na ito ng korte kasi kumbaga, bibigyan nyo na sila ng karapatang mag-intervene. Sige, parang, halimbawa, sasabihin mo kay barangay chairman, bahala ka na mag-decide kung sino sa amin ang may kasalanan at kung ano yung dapat namin gawin. No? So, we go back to the previous complaint, diba? Nireklamo mo yung kapitbahay mo, chismosa. Ngayon, since hindi kayo mag-aayos kasi mainit kayo parehas, sinabi nyo na lang, o bahala ka na chairman, ikaw na ang magdesisyon. So binibigyan nyo na ng authority sa chairman na siya na ang mag-decide on your behalf, on behalf of the two parties. So yun yung tinatawag nating arbitration. Si chairman naman, no, ay papakinggan muna kung ano yung mga sarili ninyong ano yung side mo, ano yung story mo, ano yung kwento mo tungkol doon sa nangyari, no? At ano rin yung kanya. Kumbaga magpapakitaan kayo dito ng mga evidences, then the chairman will decide kung ano ang dapat gawin. For example, napatunayan ko kay chairman na yung kapitbahay ko talaga chinichismis niya ako. So si chairman pwede niyang pilitin or pwede niyang babaan ng desisyon na dapat yung nirereklamo ko ay magmulta na lang ng certain amount at a certain date, no? So with that, no, the decision now on how to resolve our dispute is not now coming from me, no, or from her, no. So hindi na nanggagaling yung decision sa akin at doon sa aking nirereklamo, kundi ang nagdedesisyon na nito kung anong dapat gawin is si chairman. So yun yung tinatawag nating arbitration process. It could happen during the mediation, no, or it could happen during the reconciliation, no. Meron naman yung term na tinatawag nating arbitration award, no. Yung arbitration award, yun na yung desisyon na kung saan is ibababa ni arbitrator kung ano ang dapat namin gawin para maayos namin yung gusot namin. So that is the so-called arbitration, no. So lastly, no, ito na yung last topic natin. Let's say wala talagang nangyaring pagkakaayos despite the effort of the barangay chairman and despite the effort of the Pangkat Tagapagkasundo ay ayaw mo talagang makipag-ayos, no? Ayaw mong makipag-settle, no, doon sa iyong nirereklamong tao. So what will happen? 15 days, di ba? 15 days sa mediation, 15 days sa reconciliation, and extendable for another 15 days. So that is total of 45 days. Wala pa rin naging settlement. Hindi pa rin kayo nagkaayos. So ang mangyayari dyan is the barangay where the case is being tried and heard or is being resolved, no, will now issue the so-called certificate to file action, no. Yung certificate to file action, yan na yung isa sa legal requirement natin na kailangan meron tayo bago tayo makapagsampa ng kaso sa korte, no? So kumbaga, susukuan ka na ni barangay, susukuan ka na ni barangay chairman, susukuan ka na ni Pangkat na ng Pangkat Tagapagkasundo, at ifo-forward na, sige, magsampa ka na sa kaso, doon na lang ninyo ayusin yung inyong gusot, no? So that's the basically the end of the so-called barangay justice system process, no? Kapag nakapag-issue na sila ng certificate to file action, no, ay hindi na or wala na silang authority to intervene with regards to the dispute that is being settled. So it's now forwarded to the police officer, it's now forwarded to the court, no, and so on. So papasok na siya doon sa justice or criminal justice system natin. Okay? So that is, guys, that's the end of our short lecture with regards to Katarungang Pambarangay. I do hope I was able to explain and give you some knowledge with regards to our topic. Now, if you have questions with regards to the thing that we discussed, feel free to comment in the comment section. That's it for today. See you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.